Hey year 8s, good to see you guys. I have to say I was super impressed with your presentations last week. It really was fantastic. Loads of effort from you guys, so well done. And hopefully you guys enjoyed presenting your news stories and giving each other lots of detail about Krakatau and its eruptions. I really thought it was great. Okay, so one question that we haven't quite answered is, why was Krakatau such a devastating eruption? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Your title is, Why was Krakatau such a devastating eruption? Obviously you'll need your exercise book and pen, and then as usual 2 quick recap questions from your previous learning. I want you to describe what happens at a convergent plate boundary. So Indonesia is our convergent plate boundary. And second question is, name 2 other types of plate boundaries. Okay, so describe what happens at a convergent plate boundary and name 2 other types of plate boundaries. Okay, so pause your video here, write down your answers, and then we'll go through them in a minute. Okay, well done everyone. So just to check on your answers, go through them. So your model answer would be, a convergent plate boundary are where 2 plates are converging, so they're moving towards each other. We talked about this a few lessons ago. The oceanic plate, which is more dense, subducts, so it kind of pressure pushes it under, and we've got a more dense plate sinking beneath our continental plate. Okay, so the more dense oceanic plate subducts, it sinks beneath the continental plate, causing an increase of magma as it melts. So we know that the structure of the Earth is that as you go deeper into it, it gets hotter, and so your plate is subducting, it's starting to melt and causes more magma to increase. And then eventually that magma will build up, pressure becomes too much, and we get our volcanic eruption. So that's what happened with Krakatau. 2 other types of plate boundary that we want to check on are divergent plate boundaries, so the plates moving away from each other, and then conservative plates where they're moving alongside each other. Okay, so sliding past each other or moving in different directions. Okay, for us to be able to explain why Krakatau was so violent an eruption, we need to know what type of volcano Krakatau is. And there's 2 main types. You can see on the left here we've got our composite volcanoes, and the right we've got our shield volcanoes. What I want you guys to do is just to spend a minute or so, so pause the video when I finish, but have a look at these 2 types of volcanoes and write down any differences. Okay, so spot the difference. What differences can you see in there? Okay, so you might have noticed that the composite volcano, in the description there, it has different layers. Okay, so it's got layers of lava and layers of ash. That's one of the features of it. You might have also noticed that the composite volcano is more of our traditional volcano shape. Okay, so steeper sides, and more traditional looking. Our shield volcano has a much wider base. Okay, so it's relatively low, wide base, and those are some of the differences that you might have spotted. Okay, so we're going to go through this so that you guys will be able to explain what kind of volcano Krakatau is. Okay, so going into a little bit more detail here, we've got our different volcanoes and how they're different. So they occur on different types of plate boundaries. There's something called viscosity, so how runny the lava is that comes out, the slopes, the layers, and then the eruptions. Okay, so composite volcanoes generally occur at a convergent plate boundary, okay, where these plates are moving towards each other, okay, and subductions occurring. So composite volcanoes occurring at convergent plate boundary. Shield volcanoes are slightly different. They're found at constructive plate margins, or divergent, so where the plates are moving away from each other. Okay, and that allows our magma to come out. So different areas. They also, shield volcanoes, there's something else which some of you might want to look up, called hotspots. So they occur on hotspots. Second difference is viscosity, so how runny the lava is. Okay, at a composite volcano, the viscosity is very viscous. It's really thick. Okay, and so as it comes out, it sort of oozes. It doesn't run like some of the lava you might have seen in videos or films. It is definitely a very slow moving lava, whereas shield volcanoes is much more runny. And that's what kind of leads to the next bit, the slopes. So because it's very viscous, the slopes are really steep because it sticks together, it's lumpy. So if you imagine I poured some water on a table, the water would spread quite quickly. If I poured golden syrup, it would kind of be much more thick and stick to itself and be spread over a smaller area. And that's why we get different shaped volcanoes. So a composite volcano, very sticky, viscous, very viscous, and so steeper sides. And then our shield volcanoes, quite runny lava, and so it flows for long distances before it solidifies, so a gentle slope. Composite volcano, we mentioned this earlier, has alternate layers of ash and lava. People also call them stratovolcanoes, strato meaning layers. So we get a volcanic eruption with loads of ash, and then that settles down on the side of the volcano. Then we might have some lava, and that covers it up, and so on. Whereas a shield volcano, there aren't any layers. It's just the volcano consisting of lava. Lastly, the eruptions. Well, composite volcanoes are really violent eruptions, and there's a longer period between eruptions. And if you think about it, that's because of the viscosity. It's really sticky. So what happens is pressure builds up beneath that volcano, because that sticky lava can't come out. That sticky magma is inside, and pressure builds up and up and up and up, and then eventually we get an eruption, and so it's very violent. Shield volcano, because it's more runny, it's easier to get rid of it. So it's a more continuous eruptions over long periods of time. So we get a more continuous eruption, and that means that there's less pressure building up, and so much less violent eruptions. So what I'd like you guys to do now is just to test yourself. So pause the video and see how many differences you can sort of remind yourself of. So cover it up or turn away from it and just say, okay, this is what a shield volcano is like, this is what a composite volcano is like. See how many you can remind yourself about. So think about explaining why those differences occur. So pause your video now, and then we'll go on to looking at Krakatoa itself. So now what I'd like you guys to do is to apply that understanding. So thinking about all of those differences between shield volcanoes and composite volcanoes, I want you to look at what is happening at Krakatau, or what happened at Krakatau. So I want you to write down an explanation in your books of what kind of volcano you think Krakatoa is. So using evidence, explain what type of volcano you think Krakatoa is. I hope you like my GIF. I'm really excited by including GIFs in the PowerPoints now. But have a go, pause the video, and then write your explanation. Alright, well hopefully you guys said that it was a composite volcano, not a shield volcano. You can see that it's got pretty steep sides, it's quite a traditional looking shape of a volcano. You can see some of this stuff in the GIF, that it's had such a violent explosive eruption, and so that suggests that it is a composite volcano. So I said Krakatoa is a composite volcano. It appears to be quite tall and steep sides. This suggests that it has high viscosity, so really sticky. This is supported by the fact that the eruption was very violent, which also suggests that it is a composite volcano rather than a shield volcano. So check your answers, maybe add a little bit to it if you can, and then we'll move on. Brilliant, well done. So now what we want to think about is, in your presentations, you guys talked quite a lot about the tsunami that occurred and the dangers that happen as a result of that. So I want you guys to understand why that occurs. So what I'd like you to do is just have a mini title, How the Tsunami Was Caused, in your books. And I want you to draw a sketch of this diagram. So you've got your volcano on the left hand side, and then you've got your sea and island of Java on the right hand side. Well, let's get down this diagram, copy a sketch, and then I want you to try to explain what happened, bearing in mind sort of our previous images and what you know already about Krakatoa. So have a go, draw the sketch, pause the video, draw the sketch, and then write an explanation of how the tsunami occurred. Okay, well done. So now we're going to go into a little bit more technical detail about the tsunamis. So I'd want you to follow this link here. It's on your class charts, so you don't have to type it in every little bit by bit. I want you to copy in the whole thing from class charts. And I want you to tell me a little bit more detail about how does this tsunami occur as a result of a volcanic eruption. Okay, so some of you will be able to sort of summarize how the tsunami was caused. Other people going into a little bit more detail will be able to explain what the terms propagation and shoaling mean. Okay, so use the video in there, it tells you. Okay, and have a think about why that links to our tsunami. Then at the top level, you're going to be able to sort of think about why the tsunami was so devastating. Right, so maybe have a look at a map. Maybe have a think about where Krakatau is and where Java is, and so on. Think about the reasons why that might mean that it was so devastating. Okay, so pause your video, follow this link, watch the video. It doesn't have any sound, bit annoying, but it's actually quite a good video. So have a go at those questions. Okay, well done everyone. Okay, so the last thing we're going to look at is the response, and this is one of the reasons why it wasn't completely devastating, because the world responded very quickly. So I've got two examples here for you about some of the responses, and I want you guys to try and summarize why it was important. So read through the information that's on the left hand side here. So the World Central Kitchen, so what's that about, and why is it so important that that sort of thing happens? Okay, and then the second resource I want you to use, a little bit more detail, is I want you to again use the link that's on class charts, the Red Cross Appeals one, and I want you to go through there and just have a read of that website and tell me, what did the Red Cross do to try to reduce the damage and the devastation of this tsunami? Okay, your challenge question is just to think about, is this long-term aid or short-term aid? Okay. Right, that is the end of the lesson. Well done everyone, and we will go through this in our next live lesson. See you soon. Bye.